Hey, we
It
are
is.
live. Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody
Hello, friends.
to Shade of the Evening Book Club. Tonight we are going over our third installment, if you want to call it that, of The Hedge Knight, the first novella. What?
No, I'm sorry. I thought I had two volumes.
Anyway.
My bad.
I have a very special friend and guest with me tonight, and that is Justin Thomas from Top Shelf Fandom.
It's a pleasure to be on. Thank you.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, Justin.
Justin Thomas from Top Shelf
Fandom. It's such a pleasure to have you. And
absolutely. It's a pleasure to be on. A Song of Ice and Fire is a passion of mine, and The Drunken Egg is one of the best adventures that you can go on mentally. So very, very enthused to be here and very, very excited about the research that I had to do because it was not strenuous whatsoever. Love me some Drunken Egg. Pleasure to be on with you, ladies.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Laurie?
I'm Laurie. You just know me from chats as Steel510Rain. I don't have my own channel, but I am on Twitter as Steel510Rain. You can find me there or here once a week. That's it.
Yeah, rock on.
Moniucci?
Laurie is awesome. Laurie, Steel 510 Rain. You say that, so I do every time I skip over Steel 510 Rain.
510.
Sorry, I can't help it. So hi everybody.
You try.
Hi everybody in the chat.
Everyone messes it up. It's fine.
510 Rain. I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna get better. So, but hello everybody in the chat, and hello to Justin. Welcome, or this way, Justin. Welcome, and rock on. It's the tourney, guys. We're gonna have a little bit of action. So get ready, buckle up. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
Definitely get into some action. That's one thing that's great about the story. Like, it starts off the building and building and building and building. I mean, it's just, different way of doing it. Oh, Bravosi Broadcast, I haven't said hey to you yet. Hello, Aaron. Just totally different, like, from having one POV character instead of all the ones in A Song of Ice and Fire and all these things like that. And this story, being about a knight and the whole life of a knight and one that's trying to make his way in the world. And so, yeah, we're going to be going more in depth about him and the tournament and how it started and all the pageantry and the rules and the everything that goes with it. And we have the tourney start off.
Just a quick recap, Carrie.
Dunk's not going to compete the first day. Go ahead.
We left them last week. We left them where Dunk hired the girl at the puppet show paint his shield because he wasn't a blood relative of actual well, look at that. That's a shiny shield. So he had to get his own little herald. So that, and now wait. So then the next pictures are the trumpets, and something important is going to happen when they give you the trumpets. Show. So take it away, Shade of the Evening.
Okay. Well, we got the tourney starting off, and like I've said a million times, sorry, you guys. Dunk and Egg having breakfast and doing what all the other people are doing, and Dunk is super nervous. He cooks all this food. He doesn't have an appetite. Even though he's not competing today, he is excited to see all the competitors that he's going to have to go up against possibly. And Duncan is just as excited as he is. And I always do that. Egg is just as excited as he is. And I always say Duncan twice.
Can I stop you
so
at
sorry.
breakfast?
And go ahead.
Do you guys like get the hint that there is much more of a fiscal responsibility taken within this story of you understanding how much things cost, in that George is really establishing the financial, like in the fiscal situation of a hedge knight versus a landed knight, and really because George is really questioning what it means to be a knight and what knighthood is. We know now that it's been retconned, but there's that attachment to Brienne, and it's fitting the code of chivalry, right? But not essentially, fitting the mold as an institution. So it's a little bit anti-institution, a little bit that, but they really hammer down how many coins it costs for this or that. Like he gets, they make sure to establish how much change he gets back for every purchase that he makes within these novellas. And it really grounds you, and it's really boots on the ground storytelling, and it really I think it really adds to it. Like in A Song of Ice and Fire proper, we have Littlefinger talking about how many stags are owed, right? Like, like all this inside baseball. But in this story, like we're literally getting how much he gets back for when he buys a 4th ale, right? So, it's I like that because it's stakes, because it's not stakes of the known world of Westeros or Earth, whatever it's referred to these days, but it is stakes. The stakes of him losing his armor, the stakes of him losing his money, they're all very much so there, and you feel that, and they establish that very early on with your breakfast that you're talking about. And I really like that because they always make sure to tell you how much something costs and how much he gets back, and let you know what's in his pocket, because that's his livelihood. Sorry, something
exactly. And this, no, you are fine. It doesn't say the exact money for it, but when he's eating stuff like goose and fried bread and bacon and stuff like that, and says they were able to break their fast on these kind of things, then that way is the way of showing you, instead of actually saying the monetary value, just in the other text, because I know you have the graphic novel of how to get that across. And it also talks about, and I think this was in the quick novel, about the right of first challenge, and how it's going to knights of higher birth and greater renown, and lords and sons and champions from their tourneys. So, we talked about this last week, Duncan, the underdog, and this is the dog eat dog situation. This isn't just
as you're saying that,
oh boy, want to extreme.
As Justin, as you were saying that too, I had a thought how different like a hedge knight is, just in the financial aspect and how they look at food and eat and all that. Just the difference between a hedge knight and a sellsword, even.
Yeah.
Like they're different.
Yeah, you have a hedge knight, you have a landed knight. Landed knight means you obtain land either for rent or to be able to stay on within a certain lord's territory. And then a sellsword, I mean, the differences between a sellsword is the differences between like a what you'd call like a pirate and a license to steal back in the Elizabethan, like Elizabeth's age, whatever that license was called. It's blanking at the moment, but yeah, it is. They are the lower class of that,
Buccaneer
within that hierarchy, so like they are called a hedge knight because they sleep under hedges. So they are, for all extensive purposes, a sellsword within that kingdom.
Yeah, but there is like that contrast of any sellsword we meet in the stories versus the hedge knight.
Oh no, absolutely, yeah.
Right. It just made me think of it as you were saying it, how it is so different. Even though you'd be like, oh yeah, they're just float around,
yeah,
from place to place, but it's a very different lifestyle. Yeah. It just made me think of it.
No, absolutely. And it's like, it's all but in name, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah, and that's what George is all about, is that institution, labeling something. A privateer, I think, would be.
Yeah.
Like Raleigh, Sir Walter Raleigh.
Essentially a mercenary.
Yeah, they would have those licenses to raid
Yes,
Spanish.
that's what I.
Yeah, privateer. I think it was called. So like, yeah, but I mean, a sellsword for all intents and purposes, same thing as hedge knight without the the license essentially.
All right.
Yeah, I think he was pointing out that a sellsword, well, could be more of just a killer for hire rather. But I mean, essentially, when you do hire a hedge knight, he's a killer for hire.
Yeah,
So yeah.
But a righteous.
But
killer.
he has, but he's
And,
still a knight.
I mean,
but he's always a knight.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I don't mean to debate the
Sellsword
difference, just
doesn't have
acknowledge
to
the
have
difference.
An important thing, and that's such an important
Let's get
thing,
into ethics
and
here.
That's such a big thing in this culture. Yeah, really.
All right, so back to
we
the
talked
tourney.
about the whole Berlin thing,
It is a
and-
privateer, yes. A privateer license.
That's the word.
Where Walter Raleigh would have had back in the day. So for all intents and purposes, Lori's right, though. Seal Rain, 5'10".
Something like that.
I'm trying to get your name still right. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I know you so well. Still cannot get it. Why do you guys make your names like that? It kills me.
I'll tell you right now, for those who don't know, my birthday is May 10th, so 5'10 is 5'10, May 10th. And I put 5'10 because I always liked numbers and multiples of fives, and my birthday starts off the multiples of fives. So I've just always in my whole life do 5'10. And my sister's born on the 15th, my mom's the 20th, so it's like a thing.
We're gonna have a marketing seminar, and we're not gonna do trigonometry.
I always thought it was simple because it's like 5, 10, 15, 20 that it like rolls off the tongue, but it never quite does. All right, sidebar, back on track.
Yeah, sorry. I'm also an idiot, so sorry.
It's not. It's I just assume you know what that means.
I got you. Go ahead.
I looked up some historical information. We can do this a little bit later, and I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna be able to read my own writing because I'm going blind. Just some historical stuff about the lance and the use of the lance, and it's all mesh and oak, and sometimes hollowed out pine. It can be traced all the way back to the Assyrians and the Egyptians, the Greeks and the Romans. So it was something they used in battle. So it obviously had the battle tip on it as opposed to the rounded. It does this in the 6th century AD, and they didn't have the saddles really or the stirrups to hold themselves in. And it said that the lance weighs about 5 to 7 pounds, which is actually pretty heavy for someone like me if I'm trying to make something that's 8 or 12 feet long.
Especially with the weight is.
It's something that can't. Yeah, it's something that can't be thrown like a spear. It has to have a brute force behind it, like a horse, which is perfect for it. And it did stick around. It disappeared, but it did stick around with the Polish army for quite a while. It was efficient for them in their cavalry. There's 3 reasons why they think it disappeared and then might have then reappeared in the Middle Ages. And one is the Spanish tactic of, this is my vocabulary word for this week, carcole, which means snail. And that's when their cavalry would like take a half left turn and a half right turn and a half left turn and a half right turn. And it just made the need for a lance. Yeah, exactly. I mean, carcole, if it was a snail, maybe they did end up circling around at some point and then back out. Maybe it's kind of what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I'm not much military tactics. Let's see. The other one was probably the introduction of firearms.
Yeah.
That was the reason that the lance they didn't use it anymore. And they're really unwieldy, and it requires a lot of training to have someone be good at it. That's my little history lesson on the lance.
No, that's awesome though. Because this really is a lesson in like almost French 12th and 13th century tournament etiquette. Dunk and egg is very much so that. So that's awesome, actually.
Well, and I just hearing you say all that, Carrie. I'm taken aback. Oops, sorry. Just hearing you say all that about like because I wrote in the comments too. It's just like, wait, they actually use these lances in real battles. That seems cuckoo crazy to me.
Yes,
but I mean,
yes.
I get. It just seems like a very pageant thing, knocking each other off. And I mean, later on, we'll get. Go ahead. To the part where
I didn't mean to say anything. I just have a big.
What happens after, like, when they knock them down off of the thing? Because I thought they were, you know, but the instruments are all blunted. So this is really just for a show. I did not realize that they actually used lances in real battles. That's crazy.
Yeah, they would have used a heavy lance. It wouldn't have been. It would have been blunted at that. It would have been hollow, so it would have done a lot of damage, especially with it coming. And pole arms are always what you use in battle. People, as humans, we want to stay away from people as we kill or fight. And pole arms are always halberds,
right?
Are the mainstay. So lances, you're completely correct in that assumption that it's for show, but that is the lance that is used, and it's the hollow point, not a hollow point bullet, but the hollow lance that busts on a shield. These would not, as she stated. So like, yeah, like they seem silly. Like I get you, trust me. Like, yeah, the tournament lances, yeah, that would have been, that competition lance would have been silly to use in battle, but you want to stay away from people. You know what I mean? Because that keeps them away from you and you kill from a distance.
Yeah.
Got to kill the right
bow and arrow, or
yeah.
For sure. It just seems so awkward.
Yeah. No.
longbow.
Yeah, and
Beatles is bringing up in medieval warfare, knights were used to mow down from infantry. Yeah. No. The Normans definitely were. They were heavy armored, and they had heavy lances and spears. So you know, it is what it is. It wasn't beautiful. It was not nice. It was brutal. You know what I mean? So it gets down to nitty gritty. But in the long, the short of the long is we wanted to shoot people from the day we began living and wanted to get other people to stop living. Yeah. We wanted to kill them from far away. Bows and arrows, slings, rocks, all that. Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah, you know what? I guess this tells you about my history, and
lances for social.
And forgive me, but I just, you know what? I guess I haven't really seen too many battles with lances like for media, and that's probably what I'm drawing all this from. You see the horses, you see, the cavalry coming, and they've got swords, and they're slashing from, they have the higher angle, so that's their advantage. But like, I have yet to, I guess, see, like, I need that visual hook. So this is cool. So
no, it's a lot of fun.
How much you guys want to get into all of challenges too?
Yeah, cool. I'm not a historian by any means. Lady Starfall has just asked, and I know that Lady Starfall is a learned person themselves. The lineup of attorneys, thanks. You'd have the tilt, and you would have the lineup for the joust. The actual lance on lance. Go ahead, Carrie.
I was just saying it varies depending on the tournament. It varies.
Yeah, you would have a list. You would have a list, and you would enter the list, and you would go, and you would be aiming for shield for points. If the horse was a win, and then you would go in there. The actual melee was quite violent because those are blunt weapons. Now they weren't, because you have blunt weapons and then you have piercing weapons. So most medieval sites that have been, actual battle sites that have been excavated have been shown that there's cracks in skulls, there's cracks in, most people don't die with a slashing or a piercing wound. They die to blunt force. So it's usually when they turn around and run away, get hit in the back of the head and stuff like that. I'm not a historian. School Glatoria, stuff like that. Skillogram. They probably would be people to go to for something like that. I'm interested in it, like as a hobby. That's it. I'm a hobby of looking how people died. Makes me sound like a single fan. Just lost at least 10 subscribers right there. But no, as far as I know, that you would have your melee, and then you would have your list, which would be your jousting. They're violent.
In this tournament, we have 5. Yeah, and imagine being dressed in all that metal too, like that just blows my mind.
Henry V was thought,
but it is about pageantry and it's about showing off your status.
Yeah, Henry V was thought to have died by heat stroke by riding with his full armor on. That's how he's thought to have died. Not even in battle, just riding with it. So, to speak to your point, and I'll be quiet.
Wasn't he pretty fat anyway?
Thank you. I can imagine.
Like, had some other issues.
Wouldn't it cook you?
As far as this particular, yeah, that's why the Dornish, covered their helms with the silk and all of that stuff. All right, AU. I don't
right,
even.
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, School
I don't even know what that word is. So I see now. Okay.
First is that no. If
School of Gladiators, is that what it is? All in one.
Gladiatoria. That is I play Warband with him. Not to brag, I play a video game with the fellow. No, but he's very Matt Easton is a very good source. He's a HEMA expert. And he is a collector and seller of antique weapons and an expert on that about armor. Like these are guys that actually, like I got a bullshit sword behind me. You know what that cost me? $50 on Amazon gift card. Like this guy buys real swords. He knows what it's about. What you're speaking to there in the comments, lady, is about them getting up after they get knocked down in the actual joust. And no. If you were to get knocked down in a joust and then pull a sword and try to, you would be arrested and probably killed, executed, or at least put on the rack. Like that doesn't happen. Like you're speaking to what we saw with the Mountain and the Hound. No, not even with Joffrey.
But it does happen in this story.
It does. No, it happens in the story.
But it does happen in this story, Justin.
Absolutely. But what I'm is again,
you're talking about
not the right person to ask. But yeah, okay. I can.
Speaking
tell you
of the story, shall we get to the story?
Yeah, well, I'm just answering the questions that are asked.
No, I know.
I want to get out of it.
Yeah, lady.
No, and that's good. That's good. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Justin.
So the Lady Starfall, because you brought it up, this tournament has 5 champions, and they all are going to wear the favors of the Queen of Love and Beauty, Lady Ashford, and I mean I could go into. For some reason, I have memorized the 2 Ashford brothers, Leo Tyrell, the Grey Lion, Lord Tully. Let's see. Wait. Those are the Andrew Ashford, Robert Ashford, Leo Tyrell, Humphrey Harding, and Valor are her first 5 champions.
Yep, and they all wear the little orange band on their arm to signify that they're the champions of the 13-year-old maiden who's not so fair, according to Dunk. And as we go through the pages, we get all these. Sorry, go.
Say, and last week,
very Italian.
It clears it up more in this section.
She said her
so they challenge each other, and if somebody knocks them off, then they replace that person becomes the next champion, and so on. So although Dunk's thing is he just wants a one and done, so he can let his armor paid for and stuff like that, because he's kind of in the hole right now, right?
Yes.
Guys.
And we talked about that last week, because my question was if he does, he has to pick, he has to go against one of the champions, and then if he wins, then he has the favor, and then there's always, can he just bow out, or somebody's going to have to come to defend that champion,
I don't know what it sounded like is that you do have to take the next guy's. I think you got to take that next guy's place. So yeah, it's not just, but he wanted that for bragging rights too, for to be a champion at the May as a future Hedge Knight.
Yeah, because it seemed like he always kind of felt sad that Scarlet and Penny Tree had those few little stories that were never amazing, but almost, and he only had like a handful of them because he reflects on those, so you can tell that he wants more for himself.
Yeah, and what we see is a series of competitors that don't go against the prince, right? We see them not break lance, and that is something that was known during Henry. This is throughout since Richard to Henry VIII, right? We have accounts of this. In Tony Teflon, cha, as he hates how I do it, but I was talking to you earlier, and I always do your cha inappropriately. They had modern day jousting shows using steel lance. It didn't it didn't last more than once. I'm not saying that didn't happen. I'm just saying it wasn't the norm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because people got killed. So yeah, no, but we see a fear of an anti-establishment rising comes up though to back Dunk, as I'm sure we'll get to. Because there is a plethora of Targaryens at this point. There's an excess. This is a nice time in history. It's a time in which we have people that are still alive that have seen dragons, actual dragons that have lived, unlike the story in a Song of Ice and Fire proper, in which nobody has seen a dragon alive. And then we have a plethora, an abundance of Targaryens. So it's a really nice little situation that we got going on.
I actually wrote something down about that because this is my little disclaimer, I guess you could call it that. I have always been more interested in the Starks and the North and the Children of the Forest and the others. And I have always liked the Targaryens. It wasn't anything like that, but it wasn't a group of people that I paid as much attention to as I should have. And it might have been the dragon thing I thought might have been cliche. Sorry if that offends anyone. But now that I'm reading this, it is bringing me so much more into all the Targaryens, and I'm just loving every minute of it. And going back and researching and all of that kind of stuff. So we are at... Go ahead.
I think that for those people that are very upset about the way in which the adaptation was ended, that stories like this really do show the diversity and agency we have ourselves in story to interpret what happened, because we see a lot of Targaryens in this story, and we see good-hearted, we see those with ill intent, right? And we see this. It's not the flip of the coin. It's just human beings and their character and their agency over themselves. It's not this like disease that overcomes them. We see good Targaryens, we see bad Targaryens. We see the abuse of power. We see the respect of power, and them and others understand it. I think Dunk and Egg really establishes that quite well. And that flip of the coin thing, that's a saying that comes about in popular culture within this story, but it's not necessarily that's pseudo psychology right there. You know what I mean? Not necessarily. I mean, it is actually pseudo psychology. So I think this is a good example of it. We have an abundance of Targaryens, and we see how they act, and they all act different, like human beings do.
Yes, that's definitely for sure. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep up. Say hello to Valar, and I don't know how to spell Valar Morghulis. If y'all want to go ahead and continue with the story for a little bit.
Okay. All right, I'll go. All right. So this the next bunch of pages in the book really go into the details of like who's fighting who and everything. And I don't know if we need to go play by play about it, unless there's like something that jumped out to you, maybe a line or just a thought. But there's a whole bunch of little clues in there that I wrote down in my notes. It's just more and more clues that Egg is Aegon. So many, like there's just little lines like, oh, I saw him at King's Landing once, but Dunk just thinks he's like a little orphan from Flea Bottom. He doesn't say Prince Valar, he just says Valar, and Dunk has to correct him. Just little things like that, because you wouldn't call your cousin Prince Valar, you know what I mean? I don't.
And in the comic,
those are the only two lines I have for like the next couple pages.
It really
on
just
it,
a lot of Eggs. I mean, Dunk's. See, I keep doing that. Dunk's inner monologue, and him thinking, about him being, not able to even sit up there with the other knights, and that this young boy is telling him about all of these knights and how good they are, and that Dunk is humbled by this,
let me ask
this kid has given him excellent advice.
Let me ask you this, Lori. Do you think that there's a tie-in with like an ignorance along with a like this idea that Ned was so good, right? But there was a certain amount of ignorance that goes along with Ned. He follows this code. He has best intention. Do you think this is a foreshadowing of that? Does George write in this way that only this just way about going about things comes along with, the sacrifice of ignorance? Because Dunk's a little bit ignorant, right?
Yeah, he's definitely naive.
Mm-hmm.
I would say more than ignorant. But he's also like 17 years old. Mm-hmm. So as I read through Dunk, I always think of Ned.
Yeah.
Do I necessarily mean it parallels in some type of storytelling, foreshadowing kind of way? I don't know. It could. Maybe I'm missing it. I don't have any examples, but it is reminiscent. It does make you think of Ned, that just naive, like loyalty and no, like
blind allegiance,
honor to a fault.
Yeah, honor but not stupid. Mm-hmm. Like not at all stupid. Just naive is the word I put on it.
Because ignorance isn't stupidity.
Ned.
But it's also like you put the blinders up in a way.
True. Yeah.
Like when you're naive, you're just really like you just have no idea. When you're ignorant, you don't want to have an idea. If there's like more
you have agency over whether or not you take note of it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think there's more of a choice when it comes to ignorance. Like, you don't want to go there. But like naivete, you just have no idea there's something over there, that there's something to think about.
Ignorance is naive.
Yeah, because Dunk seems to like roll with the punches pretty well. Like Moni and I had this conversation a couple of weeks ago where I couldn't help but think that like Dunk just kind of Forrest Gumps his way through these novellas, like he's just this like none the wiser, like doing his thing, walking his path in life, and like comes across all these like famous people and, like makes history by just being at the right place at the right time. And we're just following him through his bullet points of like high points and low points. And
I think we're in agreement, Lori. I think that the vernacular is just your idea of naive is my idea of ignorant. You get what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. Then.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page.
Tomato.
Yeah. Wait a minute. No way. No, I'm not on the same page. No. Tomato's different. No. Potato. No, I'm joking. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Okay. Sorry, I just looked up on Webster and the definition of naivete. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think that what we're saying is the same thing. We're using the same different words for the same thing. Because I'm on track with her.
Louis Armstrong. That's what I was about to call you.
Potato.
Yes.
Like I think
wonderful world.
I see. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I keep saying ma'am. That's just a Southern thing. I'm so sorry.
Cut it out.
So yeah, we're talking about Leo Tyrell, and Dunk's getting a little irritated because Egg knows more than he does, and so he's got to kind of show that he does know, more than Egg does by talking about Highgarden. And he, even though he says, yeah, we were there, I was there before you were ever born, he really doesn't even remember it at all. And one thing before that is that Dunk had never heard of other knights talk about the two Ashford sons.
Yes.
And so they would likely be the first to fall. So, which ended up being the perfect call on it. So he's not that naive. I mean, he is about certain things, but other things he's like him just watching Valar during a lot of the tournament, because he's trying to find the one person that he stands a chance against, but he doesn't want it to be one of the Targaryens. because he doesn't feel like a hedge knight can go up against somebody
Foreshadowing.
that's as powerful as him. That has right. And I see somebody mentioning Brienne in there. Yes, because Dunk is definitely a true knight. He is there to defend the weak and the innocent.
Well,
in every way that he can.
In my time today, which has been filled with many things. I'm sorry for the messages. As Tony Teflon is in there, I was talking to Tony and Gray about this very subject. And Gray brought up about how Dany becomes bald when she gives birth to the dragons through the fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I took that as, and I like that idea. Now that was hers, and I took it a step further. Love you, Gray. Took it a step further. You know what I mean? I said, so Dunk, they lose the aesthetic of the Targaryen, right? You know, but they gain control of the dragon. And what I've always elated this whole story to is Jon Snow is a Targaryen more than he is the rightful ruler. If you're going by that whole system, that the whole institution, right? He has the claim. And he should be more Targaryen than all, but he is Stark, and not only blood, not only like his actual actions, but with his dire wolf, like in metaphor, in life, he is full on Stark. So it's kind of dispelling all of this. It's kind of like you set out on this path, and it doesn't really matter. They kind of embody this. I'm the last dragon. I'm this. He is a Stark to the end. But he's really more Targaryen than anything, right? Like he is the rightful ruler, and all this prophecy means nothing. Yeah. So it's like, shedding this aesthetic of the Targaryen and trying to rule the right way and doing this is kind of a foreshadowing for how, because Jon, every bone of it in his body is Stark. Awesome. When he is blood Targaryen, right? Yes. Like he's not birthing dragons. He's got a dire wolf. He's got their mythological creature that Ghost is his boy. You know what I mean? Like it's Ghost versus Drogon. You know what I mean? Like it's all that. So I love it. So like I think that like there's like all these kickbacks, just like as we see foreshadowing, because we know this is written at the same time as Clash of Kings, right before it. Like and there's certain things that aren't fleshed out, but there's also kickbacks, like I said to you guys earlier in the chat, in A Song of Ice and Fire proper, back to this as well. And I think that shedding of that, it's not the silver hair in the show, but you know what I mean? The aesthetic of being a Targaryen. But there it is. There it is. She's giving birth to dragons, so it's like anybody can do right. Anybody can do just. Everybody can be just and have justice for the people. It's just putting this name behind it and putting this bloodline behind it. That's the folly, the prophecy, the folly of following this prophecy. That's my diatribe. Sorry.
Amen.
And there's a lot, and I mean a lot of lines, even in these like 30 pages we read, that say the same exact thing to kind of like bear evidence to what you were just saying, Justin. I don't know if I have any right off the top of my head, but just like how Dunk saw the dragonflies in the reeds, and it doesn't look like a dragon, and he says something about Valar, like just because because a lot of the not a lot, but some of the Targaryens don't look like Targaryens in this story, and it's by the end of it, the first read, you think, oh, it's because Egg was hidden in plain sight. But
Darion don't look like a Targaryen.
Yeah, that's the whole point. But like the whole thing,
neither does
Egg in there the whole time, and Egg had the shaved head, and we couldn't tell he was hiding in plain sight. But like, it does have like much wider implications to exactly what you were just saying. Absolutely. In this, they say so many lines, so many.
No, yeah, I was agreeing. Yeah, no,
definitely. Just to like support that. Yeah, totally.
I saw a huge Robert Baratheon callback with the Laughing Storm. I mean, could you get any more Robert Baratheon than that character?
So he wrote this like Flash before.
So that was
this guy, the Laughing Storm, he likes to pick the people with the knights with crests, and every time they have their battle, he knocks it off and throws it into the crowd for the common people, and they just love that about him. So then the knights that don't have crests are the ones that start to, challenge him, and that just made me totally think of Robert Baratheon.
What do you think the similarities between Dunk and Robert are? They're both great, brash warriors, right? Like, not maybe the best rulers, though. As far as their intellect goes, like, yeah,
point.
like
I thought that was
very good point.
I thought it was hilarious how he would keep picking up. Finally, so challenge after challenge, they'd go, and so he would with his lance pick off their little bopper on the top. So where it actually then the next challengers, it was only the guys who would challenge him that
crest.
didn't have the little fob on the top, whatever you call it. Yes, thank you. Or he would do it on their shields too, which, to my understanding, that's some skill on a horse with one of those 12-foot lances to be able to pick off the stuff on their shield or their little helmet. I thought that was pretty impressive. And when it was a lesser opponent, he would start laughing. He would just laugh the whole time. So imagine how intimidating that was also. Just that
he's showing his prowess by doing
charging at you and picking your shield.
Yeah, he's showing respect for the
but then I did have a
monarchy.
question though about what the one guy he did.
Go ahead.
I thought that was interesting though, like how we also talked about how when he was knocked down and the blunted instruments, and you mentioned it too, Justin. How blunted is a battle axe? I mean,
well,
like you said, that's just not the armor piercing one, because would it really make a difference?
Yeah, no, it doesn't have an edge.
And hello,
you can thrust and slice, or you can thrust and penetrate like that. It takes about like 4.0 ounces of pressure to go through plate armor, something like that. Again, Matt Easton's the guy to go to. But yeah, I mean, you hit me in the head with anything hard, I was a boxer. That's why I'm not all that bright. It hurts.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, and a lot of times it's steel on steel. They had coif underneath padding that would go. You know what I mean? And that would kind of deal with that. Heidi from Costume Co. is better to talk about this. We've talked about it before. But yeah, it's anything. It's just you're not having actual flesh penetrated through a edge. You're having blunt force trauma, which is most of the skulls that are found are cracked. That's a fun fact.
Right.
More you know, kids.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Yeah. Like don't fight in tournaments.
Tyrell.
Yeah.
Sir Leo Tyrell, that always knocks the opponent's helm off. He does it twice, and I can't remember the exact opponents that happened to. But one of them was Robin Riesling, I think.
Mm-hmm. Was that the one who had the one eye?
I might have the name wrong because
and that's where the vendetta comes in.
I have it written down. It's Robin Riesling.
Yes. And it looks like they're aiming for his eye, and he joins Dunk because of that, because he's already missing an eye because of it. So, because there's like a vindictive way.
He came in missing an eye, got his helmet knocked off, and still went willing to lose the other eye.
Yeah,
this guy's crazy.
But there's an etiquette to it as well that was defied. You know what I mean?
Leo backs off. Yeah. Well, in that specific case with the Sir Leo Tyrell, I think it was, he actually backs off after he's done it, and he doesn't want to hit the guy anymore.
And that shows the chivalric code for it. Yeah. So it's establishing the code, and then because the optics for storytelling are very slim. You're only as bad as as the worst person on the screen. So you have to have that person violate a code for you to understand it's a code, even if you're told it. So that's why they do that, is they have that happen, and they show that he's not adhering
to the chivalric code right there. And that's why he joins with Dunk. And then you have empathy for him.
Mm-hmm.
The motherfucker's got one eye.
I concur.
I mean, come on.
So-
What do you got to do? What do you got to do to get some empathy?
All right, that's all I got for like the
Yeah,
major
so,
tournament
in
events.
the chat.
What's up,
Um,
Gray?
I mean, well, pre-area. Area.
Yeah, I was about to say thank you, Gray
And-
Area, so much for coming. I didn't even spell
And
it
in
right.
between jousts,
Welcome to her.
here
Bye,
is
Duncan.
the and that is something that Dunk notices because remember, this is the first day of the tournament, so he's watching everybody, and so he notices that all the skilled people kind of pass by the prince. They don't tap his shield to challenge him. And then in between, he notices that's this picture where he's sitting back and he's drinking a tall goblet of something, where Dunk thinks to himself, well, if he's smart, he's drinking water. Or if he's not, then he's drinking wine. But then he notices, hey, wait a second. He's only been challenged by the unskilled knights and the old knights. And usually as soon as he
Older
knocks them
knights.
down, they're like, yield. So they
like,
call yield.
You
So,
need a renegade. A renegade.
yeah.
And then he'll
So he's still
and then
pretty
he'll go and-
unscathed, which that was
and-
something Dunk was upset about, or he mentioned earlier, like, how am I gonna challenge a prince? Like, but when he was watching who was challenging who, I think in his head he was kind of thinking he might be the one that I'll be able to beat. But it's a prince.
Yeah.
So
He was watching Valor the whole time. He wasn't. It's set in there. I'll have to find it. But after everything that goes on, he finds that all of his oh my God! I'm sorry, you guys. I've been doing college orientation this week with my daughter,
fine.
and
You're
I just
fine.
have
You gotta.
brain
Well, what's happening during this
fart.
tournament is that Dunk is being enlightened by Egg about the emptiness in these victories. He's seen that these people are not winning, are losing because of any type of prowess. They're losing or winning because of status. And there's a big issue
their
there.
Stature.
Yes. And Gray, and I told you, Gray, I'd steal it earlier in our chat, that this is the road to Summerhall. It really is. And now we see him learning these lessons, and we see that Egg is observing, and he's the least likely. He's the unlikely one to take the throne. And we're seeing this. Again, there's an abundance of Targaryens, but during this tourney, we're seeing people lose, again, not due to their skill set or lack of our existence of, it is due to status, and they are pleasing the crowd to be. So Egg has a serious issue with that. He has a serious issue with fakeness. He shaves his head because he doesn't want to be known.
Yeah, because
he wants to be,
and he's screaming, and
on his
Dunk
own.
wonders.
Yeah. Go ahead.
He's wondering as he's screaming for Dunk. When Dunk's wondering when Egg's screaming, like for which knight is he cheering on? Because he should be all for the Targaryen and for him winning, even though he'll say stuff like that wasn't right. That he's just playing. He's just jousting or having his matches are with people that aren't as good as him. And then things like the Tyrell. I saw him at King's Landing once. He's not one you'll want to challenge. And I did want to mention the thing about Darren and Summerhall, and that was that until I went back and started doing more research that I should have done a long time ago, I never knew that Darren II, these guys, Baylor and Maker's father, was the one who built Summerhall and fixed relations with the Martells.
Yeah, it's a Dornish connection there.
Oh yeah, and
so
that was. I think you guys did touch on it, but the Dornish princess. That's why the one Prince Baelor has the dark hair. He takes after his mom, who was a Dornish princess, and
exactly.
So many little nuggets like that.
How many Dornish
so
princesses have done well? How many have done well in King's Landing?
Yeah, exactly.
You would think they quit sending them, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I have a count at 0. I don't know any that flourished. I'm sorry, and it's a shame because you're beautiful.
Well, and like besides Rhaegar, and in the canon of A Song of Ice and Fire, you don't really see the Targaryens in tournaments and stuff like that. You know, that one just happens to be so important because of the Lyanna thing and all of that, and the start of the whole taking down Aerys and that kind of stuff. But
you don't see Dornish in tourneys
the
after this. You see Targaryens, not Dornish.
There's no Dornish in this one.
That's true.
But yeah, you don't see Dornish in tournaments, which is odd. No. Yeah, because they don't share. The North is like, hey, we don't do tournaments because we're so tough that we don't. Cool. But yeah, I never bought into that.
Did you to wrestle?
I don't like it. I've been advocating. That's my own thing. Sorry.
On Bear Island. Bear Island.
Jorah did it. Yeah.
Dorne. Yeah, you're right about that.
All right,
Amanda.
That's my own bias. Sorry.
Yeah, the Targaryen.
The bitch move.
No. So let's see. A moment he had mentioned something about the day, the winner of the day going to the wrong person, but we haven't talked about the high Targaryen bitch that enters the list later in the day.
Yeah,
that is like Joffrey Baratheon. What? I did say bitch.
I want to make sure you said high Targaryen bitch. All right, go ahead. Nothing wrong with it. I just want to make sure I heard it right. I thought it could be a list.
I'm not dissing Targaryens. I'm just dissing Aryan because, like, he's like Joffrey. If Joffrey was a little bit older.
I'm not saying they're not a bitch. I just wanted to clarify.
Never do that. I'm sorry. Should I not say?
And I have
spade a spade.
Your channel.
So this Targaryen bitch.
There he is. That was him back at the stable being a jerk, but
a bitch.
There he is. In case you forgot what he looked like in his super handsome.
We did miss a part. I'm sorry, you guys. Just about how this tourney is set up and having 5 rows at once. So you have 20 sets of spurs, you have 40 sets of hooves, you have 10 riders, and everybody comes crashing into each other at one time, and just I could imagine the ground shaking and the cheering and just the whole just getting all wrapped up into it because the story is so well written, and
it was fun to read.
Okay, did anybody else notice that part though too, where it was just like we talked about the hooves, all the horseshoes were all gilded?
Yeah,
that like stood out to me. I was just like, wow, that seems kind of fancy for a tournament, right?
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, no, that's a good catch actually. It wanted to show the upper echelon.
I was just like,
these weren't fools.
So those are the super.
Yeah,
the best of the best are fighting right now because it was. I mean, even their war horses had gilded.
Yep.
Horseshoes. That's crazy.
No, that's a nice pickup. I caught that as well when I was doing my reread. It's like these are your panzers going at each other. These are your top tier. Right. Yeah, nobody can win.
It's an exciting day.
So I guess, yeah.
It's like if the Patriots played the Patriots, Tom Brady versus Tom Brady.
No, yeah. If a Targaryen won, Valar or Aryan or any of them, I don't see them taking this lady Ashford as a wife. I don't know. It's just for them to be there to show their skills and stuff like that. And then of course you have Darren, who doesn't even want to be a part of it. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Oh, I see that sentence now, Moni, of the gilded spurs. Yes.
It's a nice juxtaposition.
Yeah, I just
And
I just thought it was
Yeah.
interesting. I was like, wow,
Well,
fancy.
we all know about Harrenhal, where Rhaegar was competing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's like the last able Targaryen, right? Because we get the Mad King. So this is the era of this plethora, this excess of Targaryens that are going against each other in division within them, which is very interesting to again show the diversity within this family, and I think it's very pivotal to the bigger story, and I think it's a foreshadowing for what they become, and we see the yearning to bring back the dragon, because Aegon lives in an age where people have seen dragons. Older people, not him, it's like his grandpa has seen dragons, right? But he is not, so he yearns for it. He ends up doing some pretty stupid stuff. You know what I mean? But I love it. I love it because we get to this age where it's like it's the last dragon, right? And the last dragon falls to Viserys and stuff like that. It gets ridiculous. But this is the era of too many, right? And but it humanizes them. It's a very good story.
Yes.
I enjoy that.
So, anyways, we got to get to the next part, man. So
the next scene?
The bad guy
Go ahead.
Yeah. Where who is the one who challenges him?
Eric.
No, that's not Humphrey.
Oh,
it's not him. Who's the one who challenges our prince?
Arian comes up to Humphrey Harding's
and challenges Humphrey Harding.
Come out.
And Humphrey Harding seems to be the one that's been like legitimately winning, right? Like he seems to be the best challenger of the tourneys of the jousting so far. And this guy comes in like and he so dramatically goes by every other champion's tent, right? Like, ha, 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 whatever, slows down in front of Prince Valar's. Everyone's kind of like, what's he going to do? And he's like, ha, 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 and then goes and like, bang, on Humphrey Harding's thing. Yeah, it's so dramatic, the way it's written and everything. You just picture it, and you're like, oh, this guy, it's the worst. It's like watching, like, wrestling nowadays, like the drama. And,
he's like flexing in the camera.
I have no way better to describe this scene than to just read it. So if someone else wants to go ahead.
No, you read it, Lori. You're
just read it?
Job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go for it, honey.
So I'm just gonna read one paragraph out of it. So basically he walks up, he bangs on the thing, his dragons are orange on his like his decorative dragons are yellow, orange, and red. So it's like basically all the decorations. But so he walks up and Egg's little legs tighten around Dunk's neck because he's sitting on Dunk's shoulders because they're, parade style in the crowd. They're like, and then it says, after a pause to dip his lance to Prince Baelor, a pause so brief that it was almost perfunctory, he galloped to the north end of the field, past Lord Leo's pavilion and the laughing storm slowly only when he approached Prince Valar's tent. The young prince rose and stood stiffly beside his shield, and for a moment Dunk was certain that Arion meant to strike it. But then he laughed and trotted past and banged his point hard against Sir Humphrey Harding's diamond. Come out, little knight, he sang in a loud, clear voice. It's time you faced the dragon.
Ooh.
And I know Arion reminds a lot of people of Joffrey, but to me, that's so Viserys right there.
I also want to touch on something you touched on in our private chat, Lori, about the Sansa theory.
For sure.
You want to lay down? You want to lay that down?
I have that pulled up on a tab here. I could read that too.
Do it.
All right. So just a little. I didn't come up with this. I'm sure some people have heard this. Some people haven't. I have no idea who to credit because on Reddit the username has been deleted. So if somebody knows, it'd be great if you could let me know. It's from 6 years ago. So again, some people might know. I'm just gonna read it straight. So in the Hedge Night, Dunk and Ned go to a tourney held at Ashford to celebrate Lord Ashford's daughter's 13th name day. Lady Ashford has 5 champions. It's Lionel Baratheon, Leo Tyrell, Tybalt Lannister, Humphrey Harding, and Prince Valar Targaryen. Now these are the ones by the end of the games here are the last champions standing. When you look at the names of the champions' families and the fact that they fight for a 13-year-old maid, especially with the family Harding, we find out that they correspond strongly with Sansa's suitors in A Song of Ice and Fire. 1. Sansa's first betrothed to Joffrey Baratheon. 2. Sansa's then plan to wed Willis Tyrell. 3. Sansa's married to Tyrion Lannister. 4. Sansa's now being betrothed to Harry Harding, Harry the heir. The fact that George put Harding in that mix is what really makes this Redditor think this is a sly foreshadowing to Sansa's future husband suitors in Sewell and beyond. So that means there's one left, and that would be a Targaryen. Which Targaryen you think that is goes beyond this basic evidence towards the theory.
Which Targaryen do you think it is? Lori.
For Sansa, I would say I don't want her and Jon.
Yeah.
I really don't. I'm just not a fan of it.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. But
so I'm gonna go with fake Aegon.
Fagon?
Targaryen, yeah, and like there's arguments also within that Reddit feed to why it would be Fagon, because like Joffrey Baratheon is technically a Lannister, but like if you go by this theory, it goes by last name, so it could be a fake last name. You know?
It's Reddit.
Am I making sense? Yeah.
No, you are. Reddit's not, but yeah, no, you are. Yeah, it's Reddit. No, I really like that.
It's cool. I thought it was cool enough to mention.
No, it's definitely. You blew my mind with that earlier. I was spreading that around. I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "I don't know who to go with." Who'd you go with, Carrie?
That I know. Fagon.
I'd have to go.
I mean,
Fagon, I hate everything
he's
else.
the only one so far.
What about you, Moni?
He's the only male Targaryen. I mean,
I hate.
You know what? Just with looking back, I want Sansa to rule on her own. But if she has to be coupled, I must admit I'm kind of pulling for, but I don't know. Wow, no. Like I said, I want Sansa to rule by herself. Never mind. I'm pulling the. I'm not. No, I don't want her to.
You better ship somebody right now.
I want her to be the Queen Elizabeth, Virgin Queen. Yeah, I don't want her to be married.
Fair enough.
That's what I pull for. So no, I say no to the Targaryens.
I love that though. Lori brought that up earlier in our private chat. Thank you, Lori. Back to the.
I just found it. It wasn't my theory, but yeah, the chats. Yeah, Fagon, Sansa Blackfire.
It's fun though. It's what makes it fun. It's what makes it fun.
Fagon, Elizabeth.
He's gonna be dead, so yeah, it doesn't matter. She'll rule alone.
So anyway,
he will die.
very long.
I mean, I don't believe he'll make it out of this live.
So now it's the big moment and everybody's noticing.
Now. Yes.
And
Sir Humphrey broke slowly. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were finished.
The crowd. Well, so he challenges Harding, right? And they are going at each other. And Dunk notices, along with the rest of the crowd, that hey, his lance is too low. Like, obviously, like a novice mistake, right? But and the whole crowd is kind of noticing this too. So, Wait, I have to show you the pictures. There they are in the crowd, and there is.
I feel like I'm taking a psychological exam here.
The other guy. Well, and that was really cool. Also, while reading this book, I mean, we're just going over it, but you get like you're starting to get all excited, right? Because it's this person, that person. Lance is busting everywhere. Yeah. It's crazy. So he notices that it's going down. They're like, "Oh my gosh, that lance is gonna hit the horse." Everybody's like, "Oh no!" And it's true. It's awful. It's just awful. Turn your head.
Horse is a horse, of course.
There's a picture, Moni. Show him the picture.
Oh,
The blood flying out.
It's so sad.
That's a little.
Can we take a moment to realize how many horses died throughout time in charges?
you. Thank you to the horse. And Egg is shouting this whole time, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him. And he is not talking about Arian, that's for sure. So he does that to the horse, and at the last possible instant, Sir Humphrey Stallion tries to rear away, his eyes rolling in terror. Arian's lance took the animal just above the armor into his breastbone and exploded out the back of his neck.
It's horrifying.
And then the horse crashed sideways and is screaming. And I've never heard a horse scream in terror. So I don't know what that's.
You've never been to the glue factory.
No.
No, I bet it's pretty horrible because I've heard of little chipmunks and they scream like a baby. So I can't imagine how much louder and awful a horse screaming is.
That's what they do.
No. It would be horrible. Screaming. And of course, the whole. Well, and also, so everybody in this horse is freaking out. Egg is freaking out. So they bust down to go get him. Harding is trapped under the horse, right? Because the horse is
died.
He tries
dead
to
now. So people are going to try to help Sir Harding, and the horse is kicking him. So they can't even get to him to help him. So this is just like chaos. I can't imagine how horrible it is.
Dickhead move on that horse to be kicking. What a dick.
Although, but didn't it remind you of like Dirty Trick, you guys?
What?
That's what flashed in my head. Like, okay, when this, like, so he lances him, but it reminded me of Loris's trick at the tourney.
Oh, yeah.
The girl and the guy horses. I forgot their mares and stallions or whatever. Yeah.
In the show, yeah.
You're not. So, I just kind of like the trickery and the treachery.
Which one is that in the? Does he joust in the show or is it in the books? Because there's a difference.
Well, in the books,
really good.
Loris.
I thought it was the books.
He doesn't joust,
and
in
I
the
thought
in the books, Willis, not Willis. The other one, not Willis.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But he's in King's Landing.
I know in the show it's Loris.
And Loris is the show.
Comes out. Yeah.
It's not the same in the book. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Sorry.
I don't remember. It's okay.
It's not the same in the book.
This is kind of like
it doesn't matter. Yeah.
It just was a dirty-handed. I mean, this is just absolutely horrible,
horrifying.
But he still keeps going. Like Arian doesn't give a shit.
Still coming at this guy.
He just races around, turns around, and he comes galloping back at him and shouting, and Dunk can't make out the words over the almost human screams of the dying horse. Arian draws his sword and advances on this Harding guy, and his own squires and one of Sir Humphrey's has to pull him back. And Egg starts squirming, let me down, the poor horse, let me down.
He's like strangling
Dunk. Yes.
With his thighs.
And
he's like, lay off those kegels, son.
Himself,
But
he says it. That's in the book. That's not me. He says, "Lay off that."
Mine's a terrible thing to waste. And Dunk.
A weird attraction arises.
Like that. What if that happened to Thunder? What if that happened to Fireworks?
This is when Dunk realizes.
And. That it wasn't a mishap. Egg says Arian meant to do it, and Dunk's like, it didn't look that way to me too, but I saw a knight as green as summer grass lose control of his lance. He said stubbornly, and I'll hear no more of it. The jousting is done for the day, I think. And then so it's time to go. So yeah, he doesn't want to believe that somebody can be that unchivalrous and can pull such a dirty trick.
And he won't say it out loud.
A dirty
because he's
honorable. Right.
You know?
Dirty, rotten scoundrel. Arian.
It's being honorable in a dirty game.
Yeah, and then after that, you're right about that. So then we move to the day. The days ended, and they head back to the Merchant's Row, and Dunk gets a quarter bell for himself and a half of for.
He gives Egg a little bit of booze. No, to calm him down. He's like, "Here, kid, drink some booze. You'd be good."
Just a half.
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah." And False Away comes along and says,
"Look at that! Half
hey, no, here you go, kid. Calm down. No, a kid die. Yeah. Don't worry about Elmo's glue. They're good. I got stock." Yeah, no, it's
Well, Andy tells
that's
him,
exactly what Arlen probably did to him too. You know, everything Dunk does is what's been done to him.
A little bit of rum on the lips. He's good.
We were just talking about that. Yep, it's gums.
Yeah, and whiskey and on baby's mouth for teething. So
Crown Royale, right?
So
then they go back.
So they go to the puppet show.
Puppeteers, and I'll let you continue with that, Moni, if you want to.
Before we go to the puppet show, I
there
took note of one line. Do you mind if I just say it?
Say it.
So,
Rocket.
Not at all.
So right as we go into the next scene, just as descriptive words, it's a reread, so I'm going a little tinfoily, and it means nothing, but I'm just taking notes of wording. It says, "As the shadows of evening crept across the meadow, 100 torches were lit." Blah blah blah. It says along the merchants, whatever. But I immediately got this. Like the others vibe. I don't know. Like the shadows of the evening crept across the meadow and 100 torches were lit along the Merchant's Row. I just got this vibe from that. And then there was right after that too, it says something like watchers on the wall.
It does talk about.
They wandered for a time listening to a sprightly air on pipes and drums and watching. No, that wasn't it. My bad. I don't know where it was, but it says something like a wall of watchers or something.
Oh, that was it.
I have nothing more to say about it. Just that I'm like.
But this is to distinguish Dunk.
Just put a pin in it.
It really is. It is to distinguish Dunk apart from the rest. It is to show that he is the ethical, the moralistic. It is to show that he is righteous. He is the one that's looking at this and saying, "What can I do to win?" Like in a morally ethical, appropriate way. Like it's setting him apart. It's the same thing with Brienne. Like, it's like, oh, she's not accepted by the code of the institution, but she actually sticks to the standards of that institution more than anything. And that's what Dunk is. It's him sitting there saying, this isn't right. It's not right. I didn't like what I saw. That wasn't right to hit that horse. That wasn't right to not break lance upon that prince. And then to do that. So it's all just setting up the rules of the game, the optics of storytelling. And they do it quite well. And he gets with False Away, right? He gets drug upon for a few pints. He rubs a little bit of rum on the baby's gums and has himself a night. But it is to humanize him and to show a righteous man in an unright world, unright institution at the very least.
Yeah, because he felt like he couldn't return the hospitality, but you meet people, or you in the story like Raymond, that are not the norm of most of these knights that are just out to make a name for themselves or to show off and to do things like that. Because it's not really about moving up anywhere in the world. They already have their place in the world, except for people like Dunk. And Raymond Fossaway, he's still a squire, and he's a squire to his cousin, Stefan Fossaway, who, who has been a real turd on Duncan already.
But it's also to show that they can learn from each other with Egg. Like he's learning a little something from Egg now. It's no longer a burden. It is now a mutual, advantageous situation that he's seeing, because now Egg has all these insights into these knights, so it's no longer a burden. It is a mutual benefit for them. So it's the turn. I'll learn something from you. You learn something from me. We got a story here. And
Egg stays behind because Dunk tries to use the excuse that he's trying to get his shield from the puppet, or that he needs to do that instead of going with Raymond. And Egg's like, oh, I'll get it. But he does that little part about Egg not wanting
But
to,
I thought it was
like hiding, not being
before you
very
go,
friendly to Raymond Fosway.
Yeah, like it was like almost like a little quick escape.
Mm-hmm.
but before you go too far, I love how Raymond points out, like, hey, you know, why were you over there? And yeah, well, we all saw you with that kid on your shoulders. Of course we saw you because he's huge, right? He's a giant.
Goddamn pedophile.
And they're like, but then also, you know,
That'd be the person I'd get stuck behind if I was somewhere, because that always happens to me.
Yeah.
That always happens.
But it was
That's
like,
terrible.
Everybody saw you.
But what about she tells a story
At a
that's very
concert,
but it's about the Roynish, right? Like she is an outsider. Like that is the reason for the discrimination against her, right? Like we shouldn't really rush over what the puppet show is. Lori,
Tansel? I think she was just talking about how. Did I miss something?
Well, the story that the puppeteer is telling is about the Roynish, right? It's talking about Nymeria.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry.
Nymeria. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is not advantageous for the Westerosi. Because Dragon is killed in the first invasion of Dorne.
Thank you. Yes.
It's like propaganda, they see it. They see her feeling propaganda.
I think Moni was talking about a different scene, exactly. So I got a little confused.
No, the puppeteer that Dunk has an allegiance to and an affection for is spreading what they would see as propaganda these days. Because
absolutely, and that's where Arion is like Joffrey with that stuff, or Cersei with that stuff.
Yeah, any bigot.
Yeah. But we're not there yet, are we?
Thought we were.
Because doesn't he go back to the tent with what's his face with
but that's
this little cutie.
The puppeteer is I thought during that time.
Well,
watching, then they go to the tent. I could be wrong.
Right, he pulls him away and Egg keeps watching the show.
They do meet at the puppet show and then separate, and then they get pulled back when problems happen.
Right.
So we're there.
But he takes him. He's like, "Come on, come drink with me." And there he is, Raymond, right? Aww.
Yeah,
little puppy face and curly hair.
One thing I find interesting about Raymond and him talking about the Targaryens is the discrimination against Maker and all of his sons. But then everything's okay with Rhaegal and Baelor's other son, Aerys. And even though I heard one that Aerys, or saw it their descriptions, and Aerys is bookish, and that Rhaegal is sick and meekly. And then you have Fossaway talking to them and saying things like, Maker's heir, Darren, he's okay. Wait a minute. Let me get back to the part. Okay. No, Dunk notices that Prince Maker's chair is empty, and Raymond says he talks about how he left Ashford to search for his sons, and that would be Darren and Aegon. That there's a story going around of robber knights, but he just thinks that the prince is just off drunk again, and talks about Maker's heir, Darren, and how he's named after the king. They call him Darren the Drunken, but not in his father's hearing, and the youngest boy was with him. They left Summerhall together, but never reached Ashford. And then he says, poor Maker, and Dunk's like, poor? Why do you say that? He's the king's son. Yeah. The king's fourth son. Not quite as bold as Baelor, nor as clever as Aerys, nor as gentle as Rhaegal. And now he must suffer seeing his own sons overshadowed by his brothers. Darien is a sot. Arion is vain and cruel. The third son was so unpromising they gave him to the citadel to make a maester of him. Aemon, which pissed me off when I read that part. And the youngest, and then that's that great transition into Egg busting in to Sir Raymond's tent. To tell him what's going on.
You do have a comment from Lady Starfall here that you put up on screen. For a hedge knight, Dunk seemed to be attracted seem to attract the attention of the actual knights for some reason. I wonder why. It's because of the status quo. They are the knights, and they see an upstart in Dunk, and they see a challenge to their actual credibility. So he is representing that chivalric code in a fashion that is a little bit too true for their liking. I think that's what George is really, because George is not anti-war. People always put that upon him. His biggest thing is he doesn't understand why people follow certain people in the battle. Like, he said he would have fought in World War II.
Amen.
He said he is not, as everybody says, like, he's so anti-war. No, he's not a big fan of it, of course, but he was drafted during the Vietnam War. Yeah, and he went and he did his duty, but he doesn't understand why people blindly follow other incompetent without a cause that's ethical or moral into battle, and he's always been confounded by that. So there's a big difference between. So I think that he's trying to establish the status quo. There doesn't quite like the upstart doing what they're supposed to be representing. I think that's why Dunk draws so much attention, because it's like, oh, this motherfucker's over here
attention,
making me look like shit.
Actually, right.
Yeah, they were born. They were born into what they were. He lived up to what they are supposed to be.
Exactly. And it's
I don't know.
Them seeing nowhere. So anyway, point of view.
That's a good point.
So they're in there and they're talking, and I think much to Dunk's surprise, because they're like, "Don't worry, you're among other knights. It's all cool." Because he almost said something about like, "Oh yeah, that was a horrible what happened earlier, the horse and everything." And what's their last name? The Apples. And so I can think of the Apple guys. We're just like, Cha, you can talk in here free. You can talk in here freely. It's okay. Yeah, they're like totally. You know what? Yeah, he totally did that on purpose. Like, how can you be so naive? Kind of, like, yes, this guy. And Dunk was kind of taken aback, like, oh my gosh, you guys really didn't think that was an accident, because he didn't want to believe his eyes, like, that the guy did it on purpose, even though Egg on his shoulders was just like, he didn't fight that well, and
doing the thigh master
popping off, but he's like, hey,
dude, skilling a horse. But he's Jon Snow in it.
But but yes, exactly. And then all of a sudden,
I wanted to just
Egg.
Oh, did you have more to say in there?
Yeah, he comes busting in.
Egg jumps in.
I just wanted to take
right on cue too, because they were just about to talk about him.
Yeah, perfect transition.
What is that a depiction of?
Right.
Said that. Dunk running into the.
He's like, hurry!
Raymond
They're hurting her. They're hurting her. Who?
Yeah,
the puppet girl.
Looks like violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's coming.
And then as soon as he says
I just
the
want to do a
puppet
shout
girl,
out.
He jumps right up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is perfect time where Lady Starkle had another question. I guess Egg didn't want to be found by his family, and that's why he rushed to get Dunk to save the puppet girl. But didn't he know he was putting Dunk in a dangerous situation at Shade of the Evening?
I think he's idealistic at this point.
Egg?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. I don't think at that point Egg was worried about it either way.
He's not politicking.
He's an 8-year-old boy, and sees a wrong. Right, he sees a wrong being done, and he wants it fixed. And he knows that Sir Duncan, from what they know of each other and what they've learned from each other, that he is going to be the one that is going to do something about it.
Ever talk to
no matter
a child,
what ends up happening.
They'll be like, "You're a dick," and I'm like, "Damn, am I?" Like, yeah. I'm like, "Oh shit." There's no filter. Yeah, kids tell the truth. They're like, "Justin, you're a dick." Or, "Oh no." I'm like, "Oh." They don't. Yeah, he's idealistic. Egg's like that. That shit ain't right.
Mm-hmm. And he's genuinely scared of him. Like, he's scared of what he's capable of.
Absolutely.
Not like afraid of him himself, but he knows that he's capable of horrible things.
So So Dunk runs out, but the head apple takes him aside really quick and says, "Watch out. It's a dragon prince."
Yeah.
Which was good advice. He remembers back to Sir Arlen, and but then he goes to catch up with Egg to go find out
Steely Pate tried
what
to
is
stop
going on, why it's hurting our tall drink of water.
Yes.
No, it wasn't Steely Pate. It was Plumber. It's like, you're risking everything, right?
Yeah, he's like, you know that head of yours? How it's attached to that neck of yours? He's like, keep that thing.
You might lose it.
Yeah. Want to keep that old situation going? Yeah. Here you go. This is the way to do it.
All right, guys. I'm gonna do a little chat shout out. We have Apparently Human. We have Lady Starfall. We have Tony Teflon came by. Don't know if you're still here, honey. Valar Morghulis. Fearless Mermaid. Bravosi Broadcast. Aaron. Let's see here. Gray Area came by. I don't know if she's still here. Miss Duncan the Tall. Thank you so much for coming. Let's see.
We're gonna get you married.
TDA. I'm scrolling down. Let me move it a little faster here. Sorry. Rod Damn It came in. That's such a great name.
Katrina C from my point of view.
Isn't it great talking
House
about
Lordbridge?
Sorry.
What'd you say?
Pardon me?
Isn't it great to talk about a Son of Ice and Fire without talking about how shitty season 8 was? Isn't that nice?
Yes, it is.
I recommend
it. I will go off.
Amen to that. Because these are great stories.
Yeah, these are fun.
My brother
They're so good.
Season 8 was bad.
They're so good. We're enjoying them so much.
These are fun.
Hello, Gray Area. Thank you guys for coming out. Lordbridge. Did we get everybody? Eternally, Robbie Warburg, Lady Starfall, Tony.
Thank you. I didn't get to those guys.
Did you?
I'm gonna be a dork and shut up my brother.
At the very top.
My family never comes, so thanks, Keegan. I really appreciate it.
Mrs. Dunk at the top.
Thank you.
Shut up, Justin.
Dunk again. Thanks for coming.
How do they procreate?
And Valar Morghulis.
Yes, thank you guys so much.
Justin.
Was just told to shut up for some reason.
Thank you, Justin, also for joining us. That's super cool. Dunk's lover. Thanks.
Dunk's
been really
lover.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We are loving these books. I'm not sure what day we're going to be back next week. Is it 8 o'clock on Tuesday? Or are we doing Wednesdays?
Yes.
Or I don't know.
Tuesdays
Yes, 8 o'clock on Tuesday. Okay.
Yeah, it's just ended up being a little messed up these last 2 weeks because I went out of town and then Naomi's had her college orientation. So, yes, I'm really enjoying this too, and I really appreciate everybody coming and having. I just want to have fun and just chill out and enjoy talking about good books and
did you know
all of that kind of stuff.
Didn't do a good job? Did you hear?
Okay, Gray Area is challenging you, Justin, and says season 8 was the best season ever.
I agree.
Okay, Gray Area.
I think we all agree.
You guys hear though? Did you hear about how it wasn't good? I didn't hear it. I wish somebody would just speak up for God's sake.
Really?
Just say it already.
Oh, sorry, Alexander.
Once and for all, can somebody please tell me that season 8 wasn't good? I'm so sick of the fake attitudes. You bastards. Be real about it. It wasn't good. You dicks. I challenge you there, you Aria. Yeah, sorry, Greg.
You said that you weren't even waiting on the stream of spring. Like that ain't happening. It's just
sick of it, fellas. Everybody's praising season 8. Nobody's speaking their mind. Every kid in the world is saying it's bad. Get used to it.
And so quiet.
Yeah, it's very, very clear. Nobody enjoyed it. Did you guys hear? Season 8 wasn't any good. I don't care who comes at me. I'll say it. It's not popular to say, but season 8 was not satisfactory. I thought it could have been better. I thought they should have took the appropriate amount of time. Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry for speaking the truth, you dicks. I'll read the cards. You bastards. I fell off my chair. That's right.
That's awesome. Thank you, everybody, for coming. If we missed you, I'm sorry.
I just lost 2 pictures on screen right now.
No. I don't want to hear about any loss of money.
No, yeah, money.
So
that's what happens.
Sorry.
Speak your mind about stuff, then that's what's gonna happen, Justin.
Sorry for blowing your minds,
you can't
guys.
always say how you feel.
Sorry to be the guy that breaks it. That's right.
So next,
Go ahead with your propaganda.
So next week we're doing what is it? 70. 70.
No, we aren't finished.
Did you have to pay?
Finished for tonight.
Oh, okay.
In this propaganda.
Where you been?
All right, well, I just want to make sure, to tell the people.
Don't close.
I wasn't
yet.
I did.
Okay.
The facade.
Because I have.
Laurie, did you know what pages we were reading?
I've got more pictures.
Through 80 in the Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah. So
we just have maybe 2 scenes left.
We're on 73 right now.
Yeah, I'll be quiet for this point.
Yep.
Go ahead.
And
so we gotta get
what happens next?
Dunk goes to Tansel, the damsels rescue.
Doesn't end well, I'll tell you that.
Totally.
Starts kicking ass. He's unstoppable.
Start kicking ass, taking it. Because
like
his
a
little,
football.
remember his little crush, his lady love.
And he's throwing
his tall drink of water.
The whole defensive.
She is pretty.
Yeah. Takes the whole defense.
How did
one guy down?
Can you guys, one of you guys show what she looks like in the graphic novel?
I will. I have it because I think she is pretty.
All right.
She
is prettier in the graphic novels.
Yeah. Well, how dare you? She got some here.
She's prettier.
I think all of them are pretty.
I think.
I can't get it. Hold on.
Got to put it up the mountain, Justin. Up that mountain.
You know what I just noticed? She had that widow's peak,
Hey, I had widow's peak if my hair was still there. I'm mad about that now.
Aww.
Yeah, no, she is. Somebody put up a graphic. I'll get a graphic. You can put it up.
Oh man, I need to buy that. That looks so
good. That doesn't look good. That looks like Amelia Bedelia. You guys remember her?
Thank you. I told you, Justin. She's prettier in the comments.
Yeah, that's a terrible picture. Who drew that?
Like mean or anything.
Amelia Bedelia over there. Yeah. Is that Narnia?
Amelia Bedelia.
What are you reaching in? I don't like that.
I can't.
Spoiler alert. I don't like that either.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So, grape jelly dragons.
Okay, we literally have 2 scenes left.
Dunk up Mustang.
She's very pretty.
In the graphic novel.
Oh, okay.
And
I'm supposed to do
he
my
starts kicking booty.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm attracted to her again.
You can. Go ahead, break it down. Break it down exactly what he does. Somebody with better lighting than me.
And
okay.
I can't.
If I go into any more detail, it's gonna really.
Okay, so Arion is attacking Tansel because of this is what you were saying, Justin, before about the propaganda. Like we were saying, propaganda. Like, it's treason. You're killing a dragon. A dragon should never die. Like, haha. And
first Thorn is war.
So he starts breaking her fingers because she's a puppeteer. He's gonna break her fingers and then and stomping on all the puppets. And they make it a point that like exactly just how broken the dragon puppet got. And then Dunk comes barreling through. Like a wall of watchers. That's where it is. The wall of watchers. Dunk comes through the wall of watchers.
It was when he hears that crack.
Like, I want to marry Dunk. After
It was when he hears
everybody here does.
Her finger. Yeah.
I love him.
Oh yeah.
Somebody goes.
So yeah, he comes barreling through and knocks right into him, doesn't he?
He's handsome and he's stupid, so I like it. I like it.
Just stand there.
Justin, okay, you have a type. Now we know.
Yeah, he's a little stupid.
Justin, not
get me to the stage.
So he punches Arian. Well, he flips him around, punches him, sends him on his ass.
Kicks him.
Arian kicks him in the stomach. Then Arian pulls the knife, and then he kicks him in the teeth. And then about that time, Targaryen men-at-arms are able to like contain Duncan because he's gonna kill Arian if somebody doesn't pull him off.
Yeah. We better
he had knocked him out of the way, and then that's what I was saying. It was like a running back or somebody, and the defense is like all of them. The players are on him, and he just keeps going, and it takes them a while before they finally get him down.
Yeah,
driven by lust.
Yeah, like imagine he has a kid,
and they finally
how he would protect that kid.
In his arms,
his first girl he first meets.
Yeah,
hasn't even kissed her.
Oh yeah. He has a kid and he hasn't kissed her? He fucked
He
up.
hasn't even kissed her.
That backwards.
And he's like...
No.
He does have
a true knight.
He does have a kid in the story, and that kid does kind of suck. In all seriousness. His kid does... He's part of the Kingsguard as well.
Dunk?
Yeah, Dunk has a kid. No, I'm sorry. Aegon names his child after Dunk. My apologies.
Right, but we know that Brienne is from Dunk's line somehow.
Yeah, and she definitely doesn't suck.
No.
We don't know.
I think it's going to be a cool...
Oh, I know.
Yeah, we're going to see Dunk go crazy if he has to save his own kin, for sure.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm sorry. There's a namesake that's named after. I'm sorry.
The Dunk and the Small, yeah.
Yeah.
Jenny of Old Stones.
There we go. As great with the road to.
Oh my God, who was I talking to before in the chat about
dragon
within the reeds?
So the prince is like crybaby. He just got beat the heck out of. Dunk is pinned down because there's a billion guys on top of him, and now he's like gonna be a badass and be like, aha! He touches. Oh my gosh! You made my teeth bleed. He's like, that's it. Somebody go get a hammer. We're gonna bust all of this guy's teeth out before we kill him, and I'll slit his tummy so I can show him his entrails. Just all kinds of awesomeness, right? So he's getting ready. Somebody's going to grab the hammer. He's gonna totally mess him up. But who jumps in now?
Cancer Boy.
Right?
Yeah.
Emo Kid came through. He's got it.
And he says, knock it off. Well, basically.
Well, Darren.
Knock it off. And they're like, and then he tosses back his hood and shows his little bald head and his big purple eyes.
And who's behind him?
And he calls them out by name, the Kingsguard.
He's like, I wish I wouldn't have shaved my head at this moment.
Impudent.
He's sitting there with the Castaways come up with them, don't they? The apples.
Yeah, the apples are following Dunk, right?
Stefan already has his sword bared. Yeah, he already has his sword out. But I like the Aryan, impudent little wretch. That's what he says to Egg. What happened to your hair? I cut it off, brother. I didn't want to look like you.
I know.
And then Dunk sees all these dudes kneeling down, and he's like, what in the hell is going on?
Did anyone else wonder why they listen to Egg, even though he's like such this little guy? Why?
I mean, I get it for storytelling reasons, but yeah, like if we're gonna go practical about it, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would listen here, you bald little fuck. You can get the hell out of here. He's like, look at my eyes. I'm like, nope, move. You're dead. Yeah,
but it's like you would think Ariana would have like precedent.
Yeah. No,
it's a matter of speaking with authority too. Like he was just like, He was in the right.
Well, they're pretty pissed about one
even though the other guy was a prince, but he's a prince too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So maybe they were just like, we'll leave it up to your dad or your uncle or whatever.
Yeah, I guess everybody can just talk shit to us now. Go ahead. Yeah, no, it does work. It actually works within the story. He cuts his hair because he wants to prove himself on his own validity. So it works. It works out. And then Dunk, after this, they say, well, you'll train him how we want to train him. He's like, nope. We'll do it the unorthodox way. We'll do it my way. You know what I mean?
Oh, later, yeah.
It's totally anti-establishment the whole way. In all reality, that'd be a tall order right there. They're like, all right, you all can live, but you'll just go ahead and do things. He's like, I'm going to take power right now. You're not in a position to do that. He's like, we're going to do it my way. What's your way? The way that got you almost killed right now? He's like, yeah, that's my way. And they do it. But no, it is a good deal. But it is a deal that they come to the end they come to. Because Egg comes to this very superstitious end, right? At Summerhall. Like, this is the beginning of Egg, but the end of Egg, this superstitious Egg. Let's remember that the Summerhall tragedy Jenny saw and all this is Egg. And it's really amazing.
Yes.
And it shows you how you can have this righteous, good intended upbringing. You know, just like Ned, good intention.
So true.
You know what I mean? It really shows you that. And I found it to be powerful. And I'm waiting for Fire and Blood 2 to show me the second half in the rest of Dunk and Egg as well. But it's very amazing because he goes to dire straight. He goes through dire straits to get those dragons, right? I mean, the definition of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, this is this guy that you think he's gonna be the best king ever, right? He ends up drinking. He ends up doing crazy stuff at the very end of his life. He ends up early, ends his rule early. He's not even supposed to be king. He becomes king and he throws it all to the side.
Pyromancy.
Yeah.
Possibly.
He does crazy shit. So it shows you that Targaryen.
And he does. You're right about that.
But it's not a 50 flip. It's all about that believing in prophecy. It's all about buying into that folly. You know, that's what that story is about.
That's true. Yeah.
There is no superstition. It's about what you buy into. Cersei fucks up because she buys into it. And lets it rule her life.
To it. And therefore brings it upon, and that brings it all upon herself.
Yeah. She lets it dictate. The prophecy dictates the life. It's self-fulfilling.
Yes. The life. Yes.
Because Egg, as of right now, guys, Lori, Moni, would you say that Egg is on the right path right now? I would say he's on the perfect path.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, he's on the perfect path.
Yeah.
Make me a better path. I dare you.
Yeah, John, no, you're breaking my heart by reminding me that he's the guy who
I'm
not George
Summerhall burning down. Like, I'm like, no. I don't want to think about it.
But it happens, right? Because it shows.
I like that.
It's not.
That's one of my spirit animals is an ostrich.
Yeah. No, I don't like them. Well, next, big beaks. I don't care for them. Don't you bring those up. No, it is true though. It's all these people think about Danny and they say it's a flip of a coin. That's bullshit. It's the agency and the story yourself and being able to believe that they went down this path and you see the superstition in which they buy into, which affects them psychologically, philosophically, and they act upon that themselves. It is not some curse. It's not some fucking blood-borne illness. It's nothing to do with that.
It's time travel, Justin.
Oh, Dr. Strange, do it. But it's serious. It is really what it's about. These people go down the wrong path because they're guided down it through these prophecies and through these beliefs that are abstract, obscene, and not advantageous. And they buy into them wholeheartedly. And they divide from themselves. Egg, I was a shithead kid. I'm still a shithead person. This kid's got it going on right now. He's doing everything righteous. And he still ends up fucking up. It's not because he flipped a coin.
Well, no. Okay, wait. Although I've chose to turn my head, but no. And they even say in this, no, he's not righteous, man. He totally ran away from his brother, even though his brother was a drunken sot, and took off with this guy to the middle of nowhere. Like, he's only 8 or 9 years old. Like that's a shithead kid. You're taking off and running away. Like, I mean, he's got the arrogance of a prince, just knowing like it'll all work out. It'll all work out. I'm a prince.
He has the confidence of a prince.
I mean, but don't get me wrong. I love Egg, but he's a little bit of a shithead.
No,
well, Duncan Myers,
and he's a smart ass.
But that's not bad. For knowing how it feels to want something so bad that you will do anything to achieve it. And Darion wasn't going to. He is actually the one Egg says later on when he's talking to Dunk that shaved his head so nobody would recognize them and they could hide out at the inn longer. And Egg's like, Dunk just happens to walk into the picture and he wanted to be a squire. That was like something he wanted,
And we're dissecting
what every young boy dreams of.
We're psychoanalyzing a character within a story, within the optics of storytelling.
I know, but
it is very, skim. So he is showing that he takes agency at a unusually young age, right? He is showing that he takes agency over his decisions at a unusual, as you just cited. That's very true. An 8-year-old, we accept them to be docile, right? Like a puppy. That's not necessarily righteous either. So it's like he's showing this advantageous. I'm not downing on what you're saying. What I'm saying is that his righteous ways also have a fault to them because he's deciding for himself at a very young age to go his own way, which shows you at a later age to go his own way as well. That way isn't advantageous. So,
and that goes right into, I think it was gray area.
Breaking my heart.
Like Arya.
Yeah.
Egg's like Arya.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, these are all righteous. Totally. They're isolated. You know what I mean? So it's life, which is a bitch, as we all know. So
yes,
and that's why George is so good.
Yeah, no, I hear you. That's very true.
We shall see. I'm excited for more. It's hard to really just speculate. There's so many books he's going to write left.
And Dunk is in jail.
Wrap up these
last few pages. Dunk in the cell.
Yeah, or save it till next time. I don't care because I got pictures.
Yeah,
he's not fighting.
He'll write a few Egg novels, and then hopefully he'll finish other novels, and we'll be happy. But I love it.
What turns our sweet boy?
Dunk's worried about his horses.
Maybe doing this.
Oh, he looks unhappy in there.
Yes.
Is he trying to get in or out?
He is very sad.
He's trying to hear the tournament. That's all he wants. Better audio.
I was about to say, especially because he can't see the tournament, but it's a cloudy, overcast day, so it shouldn't be that good.
I thought that's what he was doing, but he's trying to get out. That son of a bitch. Yeah. That bastard.
He's worried about his horses. He's
listening. He's kind of sad. He's kind of sad because there's less of a crowd, so he knows he could have got a better spot for viewing the tournament. He can hear the tournament, but he's locked up.
So it's like Nielsen.
Then he would hear the breaking of the lances, and it reminded him of Tunsil's finger getting broken, which was horrible. And he's just what?
He wants.
So he doesn't know what's going to happen to him next, right?
No, absolutely.
Wait, does his face talk to him?
Yeah, Dunk comes in and talks to him, and his uncle, Prince Baylor, has told Dunk to apologize to him, which he's doing profusely. Before this, I want to quote one thing, and this is kind of a real Brienne moment for me. A hedge knight is the truest kind of knight, Dunk. The old man had told him long ago, other knights serve the lords who keep them or from whom they hold their lands, but we serve where we will for men whose causes we believe in. Every knight swears to protect the weak and innocent, but we keep the vow best, I think. And this is something Dunk's thinking about while he's sitting up there in the
And doesn't that far better than a landed knight? Because a landed knight is sworn to a lord. So say the Reach rebels, right? And you're a landed knight within the Reach. So you must go with the Tyrells. You must go with the High Towers, whatever era you're in. Green Hand, whatever lore you guys, you guys might go with. But you must be stuck to them. Hedge Knight is righteous because they're righteous across the board, and they're not rewarded for that righteousness, and that's part of George's. I will say it louder, Rosie.
Point.
Yeah,
but he winds up landed.
He does. He does, but we see him deal with the Grey Horse in later novels. We see him deal with. He doesn't agree with how the Lannisters are handling that, so he goes north and sees how they're handling that. So it gives us different perspective on the kingdoms and shows us the vision of the kingdoms, which is a great tool in which these novellas work as. I like them. They don't stand alone well, but they're not meant to, so they shouldn't be teach that way.
This one little part kind of shows you that Egg doesn't have all the say in everything, because Donks he observes there's not a knife with his food, and asks did Egg, did they think I'd stab you, boy? And he said they didn't tell me what they thought. And my uncle says, I must humbly beg your forgiveness for deceiving you. And Egg looks miserable. I never meant to lie. And he says, but you did about everything. I never heard of a Prince Egg. It's short for Aegon, which Aemon and his sisters nicknamed him. And he said, why did you do it? Was it a joke? Was it to make a fool of some stupid hedge knight? And Egg starts crying. And that's when he talks about how he was supposed to squire for Daryon, but he had no intention of going at all. So when he mistook Egg for a stable boy, he was on his way. He wanted to be somebody's squire.
Yeah, he wanted to be
part of the real world. Knows what it's like. Yes. He's trying to make common ground with Dunk, saying they're both from King's Landing and things like that.
I challenge anybody to
and at the very end,
any of these stories. Stannis, if you isolate Stannis' story, you tell me he's not the rightful king. If you isolate it. You tell me Ned's not righteous. You tell me that even Jaime doesn't have an actual cause. That's what's great about George's stories, is that isolated, they're very convincing. Put together, they're very conflicting. And we love that conflict.
Yes. And the gray areas. Sorry for bringing GOT to real life, but please invoke Article 4 of the 25th Amendment. Get off for y'all. Oh.
No, he's good.
Well, that's not for a couple hundred years yet.
90, 100 years. Or no, yeah, like 130.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I love it. I love the word.
Basically, then he notices about the knife, and then he goes and says, well, yeah, what does your brother say about that? And he's like, well, he wants to talk to you when you're done eating. And Doug's like, I'm done. I just a prince. I'm not keep another prince waiting. So then he goes off to see the prince, and
that's where we're going to start.
You start. Yep.
That's our break.
Dun dun dun.
I love Dunk.
And then they say, off with his head. No, because we still have this much more book. Don't worry. No, they're not going to kill him.
That's what happens.
We know that.
He's actually
no undead.
Blood, that's where they merge. It's
no undead.
Oh, I used to love that
Even
show.
though I thought the undead were going to make it down to King's Landing, but that's a other story.
I needed a God's eye. I think
it's all going to end at the
Isle of Faces. Yeah, that's mine.
Yeah. But they're like 6 episodes.
I know that's true. I was just hoping.
Did you guys hear about this tonight?
Well, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Justin.
Yeah. Season 8.
You were awesome.
I heard.
Season 8 might be all right.
It wasn't good. I don't know. Sorry.
I don't know. I didn't hear. I didn't really hear.
I've never seen it.
You didn't? Oh, well, we should watch it together.
Never watched it. Never seen it.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, they tell me it could
Well,
have
thank you guys. Seriously, I love this story. It's so fun, and I'm glad that we're tackling it, and we get to see his adventures. Because you're right, Justin. The whole thing is Summer Isle. Keep that in mind, even though I've blocked it out, but you've so forcefully put it to the forefront of my.
Forcefully put everything. That is Summer Hall. So this is where it's at. The rest of it, this is Oxycontin. The rest is Paxil. So yeah, have fun with the series. I heard it wasn't good. I didn't watch. Nobody's told me.
That's another modern way to think about it.
I heard people talking about it.
I really want to get that graphic novel.
Yeah, I wish they would talk about it.
We lost Carrie, so I don't know what happened.
I'm going to watch the season. I'm going to be disappointed. Yeah.
We're going to hang out and talk with everybody.
We're going to hang out, yeah, until she comes back. Hey.
So Carrie's channel is now monetized by me, and no.
This is your plan the whole time.
Let's give it up for Moni. Lori.
Oh no! She internet crashed.
No, not me. Not me. They overcame the hurdle, which is me. They jumped over it, and which is good. No, you guys are very good. I enjoyed the last 2 weeks of hearing about Dunk and Egg, and I will enjoy next week where I'm not here listening about Dunk and Egg, because you guys have actually done, all jokes aside, a really good job. And this is a story that you guys can pick up cheaply, and it's a lot of fun to read. It's not like disappointment. It's not reading like your obituary, like the rest of it. So pick it up.
No, yeah, it's almost young adultish. It's pretty easy to read.
Yeah, and if you're a historical fiend, like I've seen some people asking me about lances and all that, Matt Easton, go there. But yeah, no, it actually is more tourney based, and it is more grounded. You know what I mean? This is A Song of Ice and Fire is soft magic. This is no magic whatsoever. You got Blood Raven that plays in, which actually, if you love the series, then you'll really like the injection of Blood Raven when the novellas go on. So, no, I can't thank this group of people enough. I really encourage everybody that is an enthusiast of story, like these two are, like Carrie is, to start their own channel. It's a fucking webcam and a microphone. Do it. Just do it. You're just as good.
It's super fun, and I like the audiobook too. The thing about but this has pictures. So the audiobook rocks. Carrie, I guess our hostess with the mostest, her internet has crashed. So I don't know if this is going to stream like forever.
Oh, it is.
She's the one with the power.
Yeah, no. That's
so,
at Alabama.
I don't know how this works.
By a duck, from what I see in the corner, the StreamYard duck. So we'll deal with that. But thank you guys. Make sure to subscribe. Check out Lori. Check out Moni.
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 That's right.
Yeah.
You can go to my YouTube page and dance with me, a dance party. Make sure you shuffle it. I like to get my groove on.
There is something very appealing to somebody that just talks about something they like for no money. Like, I actually really, really think that that's very positive, and that's very, I don't know, I love it. I love the people that write these very intellectual blogs on the internet, and they don't, like, put it on YouTube. Not that I don't myself, please subscribe to my channel. But, no, there's something to say for that substance there, because they truly love it, and they truly are speaking about it, and they're not trying to make money. They're sharing their passion. We're all trying to
being a good fan.
Yeah, we're all trying to get through this fucking bullshit. So let's get through it together. These are the people to do it with. Subscribe. I'm signing off for her. I don't think I actually can. I don't think I have that power. I couldn't even get in without her. But I'm gonna go ahead and say
hi, Chrissy.
But yeah. The dog show. Check that out. They got beagles and shit. You be doing that. I think is a different type of dog show. He's a teacher. So we'll check it out.
I don't know what to do. Thank you guys so much for coming. Again, my name is Lori.
Hello.
On Tuesday.
I got it. We'll all leave one.
I guess we can all just leave the studio, but does that mean it's going to keep going? Or
it probably will, but we won't be on it. So just go ahead. 1, 2, 3. We love you.
Okay. All right. I guess this is us signing off. Hi, Chrissy, and thank you guys. And I'm almost to the 2-hour mark. So peace and love and rock and roll. Wait. Rock on, Shaka Khan, and I'll see you guys soon. So thank you for coming, and I'll see you next week. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna leave the studio. I hope this stops. Okay, bye.